Good evening, I guess. Today is November 11th, 2023, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast. So looking at where Bitcoin went in the past week and where it could potentially go in the future. So I'm recording this on a Saturday. I've got some stuff to do tomorrow, so recording this a little bit early, but let's take a look here. So we're on the monthly chart. It's been a pretty good month so far for Bitcoin. At this point, we are at 6.5% up. We've gone from about 35,000 all the way up to somewhere around 37,000. And at the top, we reached, the high it closed right at 38,000. Not closed, it touched 38,000, then just kind of came back down. But again, no, impressive movement, right? So January, nothing in February, huge move in March. And then there was just this period of nothingness all the way from April, May, June, July, all the way through, really September, and then October just went off to the races. Like there was really no looking back. And then like we kind of see, like if you look at it, it's very characteristic of this swooping motion, like this parabola type U shape that I've been talking about. So again, you have one here, you kind of have one here, you got an elongated one here, and then like this is kind of that parabolic action that we're talking about now. So again, good to see. We've been talking about this for quite some time, and it's definitely playing out at this point. Looking at the weekly chart, it has been about 4 weeks of nothing but straight upwards movement. So, I mean, you've had, really since, what was this? This was like mid-October all the way through current day. We had this major downward movement and then, just this consolidation here. And then there's this somewhat consolidation, downwards type of move that was kind of like a descending wedge pretty much here into the upwards move. But now it's just absolutely pulling off to the races. And I think a lot of this is fueled by, you're starting to see some FOMO now because at this point, a lot of the ETF narratives are starting to come out to play. This major move right here was the beginning of when you started seeing a lot of these different corporations, hedge funds, major players in the financial space start to talk about the Bitcoin narrative seriously, especially, the BlackRocks of the world. There was a major move this week too as well. We don't really talk about Ethereum, but BlackRock, which again is the largest asset manager in the world, they announced this week that they were going to have an Ethereum Trust that they registered in Delaware, and eventually that'll be turned into an ETF. That's their plan. So yeah, I mean, they're making moves in that direction too. So I mean, Bitcoin number one, Ethereum number two, the two big players in the space are being, converted into ETFs, and that's going to bring a lot of outside capital into the crypto space overall, and then it's just going to legitimize things. So I mean, it's good to see for sure. It's going to bring a little bit of regulation to the space as well, but again, a lot of money, a lot of inflows that are going to come into it from that. Let's see. So, I mean, we kind of talked about that. Let's go down to the daily chart as well. We'll take a look here. Look at this. That's crazy movement. So again, this is August, and then like there was nothing here for like all this time, pretty much like nothing. This is just a range. It didn't make a whole bunch of like sense to really trade Bitcoin here, but then you started seeing this. You started seeing this to where it absolutely went parabolic. And really, if we're talking about it, it didn't do a ton in this range right here. I mean, this was all the way from the end of October to what is that? The really last week, November 8th or so. It was ascending this entire time, which, so that's good, but not like, it was small steps, right? Small steps up and down, but still good to see. So we'll take a look here. I've been talking for quite some time about this long-term support and resistance, and now it has flipped to support. Well, actually, it still has to be tested, right? We don't know just yet. It has to come back down and test that for it to be confirmed as support, which I think will be the next move. Let's go back, actually zoom out to the weekly chart for a second. So we got a couple things going on. I said we had this ascending channel that's been going on since September of last year. So down, up, down, and then up. And now we're at the top of this channel to where it looks like we're pretty much breaking out at this point. Breaking out of this channel and seeing it's a weird spot that we're in. So we're at the top of this channel, which should serve as some type of resistance to the downside. I've been talking about 38,000 for quite a while, and we're right at 38,000. And you see that we did touch it for a second, and then we came back down to about 36.8. So I think at this point we could potentially see price come back down to about 31,000. I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility at all. Just to see it turn around there before making a final push up to the upside. And when it does touch around here, it is going to be a violent move to the upside. That's just how it goes. Again, it's trying to shake people out right here and then give the bigger buyers the liquidity to move it up to the upside. So two potential moves right here. You could see it just go rip right straight through that 38,000. I think more realistically, you'll probably see it range right here for a second because this is a lot of gas. That's a lot of gas right there that it took to get up here. Just straight on that single week after week after week after week move. So I think you could see some type of stalling here. So whether it just like goes sideways for a little bit, or if it comes back down, you could see that be a move to where it could, again, go sideways, come back down, maybe stall out here for a second and then continue its move back up. Or you could just see it rip right through there. And then the next stopping point in my mind would be about 40,000 to 44,000. So, I mean, 40,000 is, a very round number. 44,000 was the last place that you had a major imbalance to be covered up. So I think that could be a potential move as well. I can probably get rid of some of these zones actually because I don't even see them as being feasible anywhere. Because at this point, for us to get all the way back down to 25,000, which again we could come back down and touch this line one more time. So really, I'm saying really 28,000, 28.6 is probably about as low as you'll see. Again, you have this support zone here. You have a daily demand. And you have the ascending channel that you have here. And I'm sure there are some moving averages here. I did not want to move that. I'm sure you have some moving averages right around here too. So if we put that there and that there and that there, yeah. So we have all of the moving averages kind of flattening out right here, and they have been flat for that while. And it looks like you can see that they're curving up, especially the 50 moving average, this white one. I'll go down to the daily chart. So on the daily chart, it is moving in that direction. All the moving averages are moving up. So you have your 200, 100, and 50 moving averages all right here. That could also serve to support price. So again, could see, I think 30,000, about 31,000 is feasible if we want to come back down here. At the very lowest, I'm talking 28, 27, but that's a long shot. I don't see it being super feasible that we come all the way back down here. I've been saying it for a long time. Like, bears had the opportunity to push price below 25,000 for weeks. It was months actually, all the way from March. If we go all the way back to March, nobody was able to get price below 25,000. If we draw a line here, and actually let's make that's not what I want to do. So if we put that at 25,000, so that's that line right here. We can actually make that a little bit thicker, potentially. There we go. Yeah, if we put that at 25,000, if we look at it, there was not a single daily close for like 6 months. This was March 17th, and now we are at November 11th. Nobody was able to close below that line. Just so many. Yeah, I mean, there were many attempts. Even like this major news event here, like they had, that was about a month that they couldn't do it. Even with that, this was Evergrande News plus SpaceX, which, I mean, it was a bunch of nonsense. Like it went absolutely nowhere. But still, yeah, we're not going way back below here. So, I mean, people have been talking about like 20,000 for a good while, but I just don't see that being realistic at all. Abandon those hopes at this point, unless something just cataclysmic happens, which I say all the time, but I don't see that happening. Yeah, so I mean, let's look at the upside pretty much. What's the upside look like on the daily chart? This was a move right here. Yeah, again, we've already filled this imbalance, so that's like kind of out of play. This imbalance has pretty much been filled. There's a small amount right up to here, up into 45,000. So, again, once we get past here, there's not really too much stopping it, because again, this is a very violent move to the downside. All the way from, let me see, that was, oh, never mind. That's not the one I want to talk about. if we look here, this move, this is the start of the bear market. And as swift as this move was to the upside, this move was very swift to the downside. So all the way from the end of 2021 to the end of 2022, pretty much 1 year to the dot, pretty much. And then like this move to the upside, it started in September of 2020, pretty much all the way to April of 2021. And then you had like this China news too. So actually, matter of fact, I think it would have gone higher. It would have gone higher, but China pretty much kicked all the miners out at this point of their country. They kicked all the miners out. Everybody got really scared for a second, and then they went right back up, which started this whole long-term support and resistance. Again, there's a lot here. This chart's starting to get a little bit messy, but yeah, long story short, we're in a very good position. I think it's going to be reasonable for us to pull back just to kind of retest this area, like I've been saying. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to talk about at this point. Pretty much gone over it. We're at kind of a decisional point at this point. Are we going to continue through, or are we going to pause for a second, or are we going to reverse and go down? It's not very much so clear, but I did know as soon as we started breaking past here, it was definitely to the upside. Like that bull market had been confirmed. And this is where you're going to start seeing people, the FOMO start to kick in. It's like, oh man, like all the people who in this range thought we were going down, this is where the FOMO starts to kick in, to where it's like, okay, well now I have to buy in. I have to buy in because again, I thought it was going here, but now every inch that it goes up to the upside, every dollar that it goes up to the upside, it kind of invalidates a dollar to the downside pretty much. It just becomes less and less likely that it returns to that space. So that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, again, this has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check everything out at christalkscrypto.com, all your crypto resources, and I will see y'all on the moon. Take care.